What is up, guys? Andrew here for Footloose Boots, here to talk about the new AG plate from Adidas. Oh wait, they actually didn't change anything. Like, nothing. Well, end of video. Jokes aside, I am going to talk about the AG plate for the Adidas Crazyfast. Now, here's the thing, it is exactly the same as the AG plate of the Speed Portal, but the only difference is they have now lost the carbon fiber, which is a big bummer. Now, when Adidas initially launched this last year, I actually kind of praised it. I was like, hey, they gave you a carbon fiber. The sole plate as a whole does pretty well on AG surfaces. We're going to get back to that point in a second. Does pretty well on AG surfaces, but you know what? Big props to Adidas finally giving us an AG plate on an AG surface. Well, a year has passed, and I've played a lot on AG surfaces with the Adidas Speed Portal. Now, you'll notice that this is the FG variation. See, less studs. Literally one less stud, and that's because there really wasn't any difference. There was no point to buying the AG model when the FG model did just as well and actually held up surprisingly well on AG. So why am I making a video complaining about this? Well, the reason why is that this is still not the safest sole plate for AG surfaces. And again, the reason why I excused it for the last year, now the reason again I excused it last year was because of the carbon fiber. But what's missing now? Oh, the carbon fiber is gone. But you know, it's just a springing, right? So no issue there, right? Well, guys, it's an issue of cost. It's not about how effective the sole plate is. And to demonstrate, this is an F50 in AG. Now look at all those studs. You think you're getting stud pressure there? Look at the shape of them. You think you're ever gonna get cling where your foot literally can't move in an AG surface on this? And, oh, what? It's snappy? Huh. And it's also plastic. Oh, what happened there? Huh? And again, you don't even have to go that far back. You just go back to the speed flow. Yeah, still snappy. Still relatively safe studs here. And again, I will be playing with the Crazyfast on AG surfaces. That's not the problem. The problem is that there's no options for us, the consumer, because Adidas literally is cheaping out by recycling the same sole plate minus the carbon fiber. Again, when they gave us it for AG, I was like, well, you know, at least we get carbon fiber for AG finally. But now, you don't even get carbon fiber. What is this? This is they're just cheaping out on us. And again, it's not about performance. This will serve you just fine on an AG surface. It will do wonders, right? For example, I have here the Crazyfast Plus model, and again, they only sell this in the FG model. And again, there's no difference. No difference, just an extra stud. And it does great on AG. I have no problem with this on AG. I wear it all the time. But it doesn't make it necessarily the best for AG. Just because you can doesn't mean you should. For example, same stud pattern as the Crazyfast. Yeah, same stud pattern with the X 0.99 levers, or Speed Portal X 0.99 levers, whatever the name is. These were really good, but I was playing as a goalie. these back studs here are very narrow in profile compared to the studs up in the front of the boot. I got my foot stuck in the ground a little bit, trying to move my feet, and I twisted my ankle. It was a terrible sprain. I kept playing throughout the day, but I had a small sprain in the ankle. Well, again, as a consumer, if I wanted to avoid that situation, I can't, because the sole plate is exactly the same minus an additional stud. But if I were wearing this plate, you think I'm getting my heel stuck in it? I'm not. And I wouldn't have sprained my ankle. And I bring this all up because other brands in the industry will switch up their sole plates all the time. Yeah, of course. You got your Puma, who literally just produces their MG sole plate on all their brands. But it's a good sole plate, so I'm not going to complain too much. You don't have to be that innovative, alright? Now, if you want to be innovative, you do what Nike does. They keep switching from like an AGR sole plate, or AGR Pro sole plate, where they'll give you either narrow conical studs that are very short, you know, again, performs just as well. You hear that snapback. Or, you know, you switch it up and do a little bit more aggressive, a little bit longer in profile, but again, just as snappy. And, you know, this is a good way to save costs, but they still had to change the profile of the studs, then just slap on the firm ground stud pattern here. They changed the conical, and then just kept just three blades. That's it. That's all they kept. 3 blades from their normal FG variant. Otherwise, they changed everything out, and as a consumer, you get a still aggressive for AG, yes, absolutely, still very aggressive for AG, but a safer AG plate than the firm ground variation. Nike Mercurial is probably the worst out of the 3 big brands, Adidas, Puma, and Nike, to wear on, if you're wearing their firm ground variation on AG surfaces. But again, they're at least giving you the option to play on an AG surface with an AG boot. With Adidas right now, they're not. That's that is utter shit that we are getting the AG plate as an FG stud pattern. It's not good. And it kind of pains me because the FG model is so good on AG, but I can't disregard that there is a safety issue that Adidas is just absolutely flaunting right now. It's ridiculous. Like, the only benefit of this boot is that you get the warranty if there's sole separation. And even that's not so great because, like, look at this. I've playing for the last month and a half on this, and I don't have any sole separation. The boot is solid. Like, what am I saving money for if the warranty doesn't even get used? And again, there are ways to do sole plates that are pretty good. Like, if you were like, hey, we still wanted to have a stiffer sole plate, I mean, look at that. There's very stiff in the midfoot. Yeah, it's flexible in the forefoot, but this is basically the Hypervenom sole plate. Just, they took the studs out. So other brands have done this forever. Everybody has taken the studs out of their FG boots and replaced them with conical. This is not a big deal. Adidas used to do this all the time. Again, just a generation prior, basically all conical. Like, yeah, they're not exactly, but they're basically conical studs. And then this one where they're, yeah, a little bit like triangles, but like they basically work like conical studs. And again, just as good a snapback as in their new AG variant. See? Snapback. Snapback. Yeah, is this a little bit more flexible? I will grant you that. This is just a smidge more flexible, but it still gives you some snapback. And this is stiffer, but as you get down to the midfoot, now granted, you don't, whose foot bends that way? No one's ever bending that way. So you don't, even though this happens and it doesn't really snap anymore. That's not a really big loss because most people, it's just gonna be right here in the forefoot and it's gonna snap, right? So again, snap back, snap back. Now, to add insult to injury, before when they had their AG plate, in fact, I'll even take their old AG plate out, when they had the speed portal with the carbon fiber, you could bend it all the way to the midfoot and get snap back. Look at that. Now again, no one's foot's bending this way, right? No one's bending their foot like that. That doesn't happen on a football pitch, right? It doesn't happen. But it does show you that the carbon fiber is just that smidge more responsive. Just a bit stiffer with snapback. Because now, with their AG sole plate as it is, you bend it all the way, it doesn't have it. And again, it's still very responsive, guys. Look at that. Very responsive. I just don't see the benefit now that we've replaced the carbon fiber with a plastic insert. You could have just gone back to something like you did on the F50 or even a generation back with the speed flow. Again, Adidas, you know how this is done. Adidas knows how to make a good AG stud pattern. I don't know why they're messing around. Just because you have a good FG AG stud pattern doesn't mean you need to stop making an AG specific stud pattern. So, Adidas. Well, guys, that's it for me today. Let me know in the comments if you're going to actually pick up the AG stud pattern. I did mention briefly there is a bit benefit of an extra stud, but I've only ever tripped up once because of the lateral side not having that extra stud. So, for me personally, if you can save the money, then buy the AG stud pattern, but otherwise, just it's not worth it. Just get an FG stud pattern in the Crazyfast, whatever's the cheapest option, because an extra stud is nice, but it's not going to help you in safety. So let me know in the comments if you're going to pick this up, or you're just going to go back to an AG stud pattern for Adidas that actually worked. Till next time, guys. See ya. Generation could have just stop dropping cleats.